Hello friends, welcome to your own YouTube channel Achievers Data Engineering. My name is Gyanendra and this is going to be the part 10 of Power BI Beginner to Pro Crash Course tutorial series. So if you're following along to this tutorial series, in our previous couple of videos, we are talking about couple of data transformation steps like merging queries and removing couple of rows and some other steps involved in cleaning data. So if you haven't watched that, link in the description, please go ahead and watch those videos as well. So in this video, in this part 10, we are going to talk about how to use append queries within Power BI Power Query Editor. And with this append query option, how can you combine data from multiple Excel files? All right, so let's get started. All right, guys. So now before directly jumping into the Power BI report and importing those Excel files, let me first introduce you to the problem statement that I have. So let's say I have a couple of sales report. Let me just open all of them at once. Okay, so at here you can see that I have three different Excel files, and all those files just contain couple of sales data. So for example, this file is containing the sales data from month July. All right, so it's just kind of a transactions written here. Now the other file that I have is in the similar structure, but this represents the sales of month June, and I only have sales data of month June. Now in similar fashion, I have sales of month of August. Now the problem statement here is that I receive these Excel files on monthly basis. Now there can be any other frequency. For in your case, it might be weekly, it might be daily. But at the end, the problem statement is that I need to combine all of the reports and then prepare a data, right? Because all of these are the transactions, and what I want in the report is a one fact table that will include all the transactions. Now, usually what happens when we connect to an Excel file or let's say any data source. So for example, if I follow this one and say import data from Excel, I will have to select all three files one by one. So if I just show you an example, if at a point of time, I can just select one file to import, right? So if I'm selecting this one, it will just say, okay, there are one table that I can take and it contains the sales data, and I can go ahead and load and transform, right? Now, if I do that, so for example, let's actually do it. I'm loading this file. All right, so just give it a couple of seconds. Okay, it is loaded. And let me just go ahead and take another file. And let's directly hit load. All right, so I'm not going to load the third file just for the saving time purpose. I'm going now, let's say if I want to combine both of the files, I want to append both of them, then what I can do, I can go into transform data. So over here below the merge query, we get one more option that says append queries. So because the data that we have in these two different tables with the same column name, we can just go ahead and append them in a new table or maybe into existing one. So if I click on this append, we will get like two different options. For example, if I click on this drop down, it will say append queries or append queries is a new. So similar to what was happening in the merge queries, if I'll say append queries, it will append another one, whatever I choose in the existing table. Or if I select this option, it will create altogether a new table. So let me just select that for now. So by default, it has selected the active table. Now I can go ahead and select the table 3. All right. Now once I'll select hit OK, it will create a third table with the name append 1, and it will contain the sales from both the months. Let it just load. So it says July data and then it's August data. All right. So now in this situation, we can go ahead and incorporate any other file, but the problem statement here is that we need to import each and every file one by one. Now what's the workaround for it? Let me just close it for now. I'm not going to save it, and I'll just go ahead and delete this from my model. Okay, let me discard the changes. and delete from model. Yes, delete this one as well. Okay, now what I'm going to do, instead of selecting to an individual file, I'll go into more options, and in this more options I'll select folder. Okay, now I'll hit connect and browse for the folder where the files are stored. So in my case I've stored in part 10 monthly sales data. So hit OK. Now as soon as we will hit OK, it will actually go ahead and explore all the Excel files that I have put there, or all the files. So it is highly recommended, if you are creating a folder especially for the reporting purpose, you should just keep those files that on which you want to report or which you want to import into this Power BI. So right now I have 3 different files. Now at this point of time I have 2 different options. I can combine and transform data, and I can just combine and load. So let me just click on combine and transform so that we can see what is happening in the background. So once I'll hit on combine and transform, because all of 3 Excel files are having the same data structure, it will ask me to choose a sample file basis on which it will combine, like which file it should take as a sample or a primary file through which it can just identify the rest of the columns in rest of the tables so that it can just append the data. So by default it is taking the sample file as a first file, but we have an option to provide a sample file. So let's say if I'm taking an August file as a sample, now I can just go ahead and just select the table that I want to incorporate and just hit OK. And let's wait a couple of seconds to let it load. Okay. All right, let me just go back to the transform data. You would notice here that actually it has combined data from all 3 Excel files. So if I just hit more and wait for it to load, you can see here, right? It has got data from all 3 different files, and it has created a single file. Now I haven't done any steps which you can see here, like apply the steps over here or these kind of queries over here. It is everything done by Power BI itself. Now if you can see here, it has taken the source, these 3 Excel files, it has removed rest of the columns, and finally it is like showing the final data that we want. Obviously we can go ahead and delete this column, and then we will have only the data that we need. Now this is the sample file that we selected while importing this data. Now at this point of time, if you are facing any challenges, if you see any error, make sure when you are importing these Excel files, if you are selecting the sheets instead of the table name, then all of your sheets, like all in different Excel files, your sheet name should be the same, right? So file name might vary. So in this situation, you can see like the file names, like all 3 different files were having different name, but the sheet name should be same. Or the table, if you are connecting a table, like the sheet name should be the same. Then only it is going to work. All right. So this is as straight away as we can just go ahead and combine tables. And now on top of this, if I just go ahead and close and apply, now let's assume you have got a new sales data. So if I just go ahead and go back to that particular folder, and so far we have data from August, July, and June. And as we just saw in that, we had got those 3 Excel files. Now let's think we have got a new sales data, right? So all we need to do is just put that file in that folder, and we need to make sure that we have the same sheet name. So I'll just open that file, recheck the sheet name. Okay, it says sample sale, and that's the sheet name we have over there. What I can do, if I just go into transform data, and in the same table where we had incorporated those 3 files, if I just go ahead and click on refresh view, all right, so just make sure it is refreshing all. Now if I go into the source name and say load more, let's wait for a couple of seconds to load. All right, so now you can see it has automatically imported data from the new file that we just put in that folder. So it is as easy as you can just put a new file there and just come in this data transformation Power Query editor, hit refresh, and it will automatically append the data from that new Excel file. All you just need to make sure that all of your column names are similar in the same sequence and you have got the same sheet name. Now, if you're not following this approach and if you're following the first approach that we saw in the beginning, you are importing each file one by one. Even in that situation, if you want to append 2 or more files, they need to be having same column name, they need to be in the same sequence, and also the data type should be similar. So I hope you like the content and the information was, it was full of information. So if you like the content, go ahead and hit the like button and do subscribe to my YouTube channel to stay up to date on any latest video that I upload. Thank you for watching. Keep learning. Have a great day, and must watch rest of the videos, link in the description. And yeah, one more question at the end before I end this video. Now, one question for you. Let's think of a situation where at the end, like the client or the person who is like sharing this data with you has added one more column in your table. All right, so your final the table that you are receiving from client is now changed. It has incorporated 2 new columns. So how it will behave? Just try it and let me know if you face any challenge. That's all for now. Thank you for watching. Great day.